Good evening. I call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call. Let the record reflect that Director Hoffman is absent. Approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
All right.
I will move the agenda.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The agenda is approved. Moving on to public comment. Are there any members of the public in person that have a public comment? All right. And anyone online? No? All right. So we'll move on to community reports. I don't see anyone in person, but I do see Hayden Bartz on Zoom. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good, thanks.
Awesome. So I have a short ledge update for everybody. The first thing that I want to talk about is HR 1. So this is a bill that is going to be voted on in the House next week. And what this would do is help address our energy problems that we're seeing here in the state of California. As many of you know, the state of California has long dated some of the highest rates of energy in the nation. And as many of you have seen recently, these policies have affected our natural gas consumption. We've had many people calling into our office worried about the dramatic spike in costs for the natural gas prices just to heat their homes, not including actually putting gas in their cars in order to drive to work. So Congressman Obernolte has been working hard with different members of legislation to help reopen up our domestic energy production, not only in the nation, but here in the state of California. There are policies in the state of California that are causing us to pay a higher rate of gas, about $1 more than everybody else, and up to 2 times more when it comes to natural gas or even energy, especially when it comes to our like industrial capacity for energy. So actually being able to make goods here in the state of California. So Congressman Obernolte has been working hard to reopen these domestic energy markets, so that way we have the infrastructure to not only store but produce this natural gas that we're seeing an increase in price for. As right now we are having to import it from out of state for a lot of this. The next thing that I wanted to bring up was President Biden's budget proposal. President Biden has released his 2024 budget on March 9th. The proposal would increase federal spending by $400 billion from last year, while also raising taxes. This deficit would increase from nearly $1.4 trillion to $1.57 trillion under the proposed tax and expenditure measures. This is not a path of fiscal prudence. Instead, we must immediately reduce federal spending to get inflation under control and take steps toward balancing our federal budget and reining in our national debts. Congressman Obernolte has actually introduced a constitutional amendment that would require a balanced federal budget in order to help bring these resulting inflation under control. So those are my short updates for everybody. The other thing that I would like to mention is that if anybody needs help with a federal agency, such as the IRS or VA, we are absolutely here to help and happy to. And if anybody has any relatives, family members, friends, or they live in the mountain communities that are still being affected by these snowstorms, we recommend that everybody go to Congressman Obernolte's website, which is obernolte.house.gov. And we have some resources for people who are experiencing this hardship because of the weather that we're seeing. And this absolutely applies to the IRS, which we have a very detailed report that we sent out. So we're happy to help you guys with the IRS in case you were affected by these snowstorms.
Great.
Great. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Thank you for having me.
All right.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Right.
Don't see anyone
Else.
else.
So then we will move on to consent items. Just a note that the date on the meeting minutes is incorrect.
It says
March 22nd, so when we're voting for that, notice that. But do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All
All right, all in favor of motion to approve the consent items with the change, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, the motion passes. Number four, no matters removed. Number five, no presentation, so we move on to 6A. Discussion and possible action regarding proposed solid waste collection rates and authorization to mail Prop 218 notification. Ms. Sebi.
Okay, so district staff has been in the process of negotiating rates for solid waste collection service that will become effective July 1, 2023. After several meetings, CR&R has agreed to no rate increase on the most common type of residential collection service, which is currently our two-cart collection service, which will transition to three-cart service. So that'll be trash, recycling, and organics, and that will begin starting in July. Although there will be no rate increase for the most common type three-cart residential service, and some rates for other service types, as you can see in the schedule, are decreasing rather than increasing, it's still necessary to issue a notice of proposed rate increase and conduct a public hearing in compliance with Proposition 218. Because for one, service is transitioning from subscription, so voluntary, to mandatory. Two, we have added services, so recycling and organics for residential and organics for commercial. And also some existing services are increasing more than what is allowable by our current rate schedule. Our current rate schedule increases only account for CPI and the pass-through disposal costs. And so these are going up more than that amount. At this time, CR&R estimates it's going to lose approximately $5.41 on each residential three-cart service for the upcoming fiscal year. We're doing this today because we want to see what district-wide implementation looks like. So what is actual participation? What services do people ultimately end up with? How many people participate in order, and then also we need to know how much organics are we actually disposing of. Is it going to be the full container? Is it going to be partial? Is it going to be very minimal? In order to come up with a better cost of service. And so the cost of service analysis has been proposed in a letter that I handed out tonight from CR&R. It's also posted on our website for those of you following along at home. It talks about we will hire a mutually agreed upon independent auditor to do an analysis and then come up with a new rate schedule. So this time next year, we'll probably be going through another 218 notification process, most likely. And so the handout is just a letter from CR&R, basically outlining what I explained. I did include the draft notice, which will be mailed out at the end of April to all affected parcels. And then there is the rate schedule. And so tonight, what we're asking for is for the board to review these rates submitted by CR&R for the fiscal year 2024, and then to give consent to staff to begin the 218 notification process and schedule the public hearings.
Okay. So on the rate sheet,
and this might be obvious, but forgive me.
so for
the
1.5 cubic yard
trash. Then do they also have to pay the additional 701 for recycling and the 701 for organics, or is that all included in that 9087?
So if you are a resident and you choose to have a refuse bin, so a trash bin instead of a cart, you will also be receiving a recycle bin or cart, not a bin. Bin is a dumpster. Cart is the barrels. You'll receive a recycle cart and an organics cart included in that bin service.
Okay.
We don't have 1.5 cubic yard carts. Generally, the most common is, bins. The most common bin we have is 2 cubic yards.
Okay.
So the
So the
120
would be their flat fee, and then they would be in compliance with all three.
Yeah, and what we're explaining to customers as we talk about this is, you might not need the dumpster anymore because you're going to have 3 carts instead of 2 carts, and a lot of what we consider trash is actually recyclable or organic, so that might work. Or maybe they just need 4 carts. So they can add on an extra cart, so that would be a way for them to save some money
Okay.
and space.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
we're doing this based off
of our water customers. So I know it's an unusual question, but like for myself, we have one water meter, one water bill, but two dwellings. So those two separate dwellings receive separate gas, separate electric, and all that stuff. So
Yeah, so if there's two separate meters on one parcel, which happens out here, then that other meter they would in theory be able to sign up for their own individual service. But typically, it's the parcel owner that's going to be responsible for the bill ultimately. And so we had this question earlier. Like say somebody's staying in an RV on your property and they're paying for trash service right now. CR doesn't care who signs up for trash service right now. It would be on the owner of the property to get the extra barrels that they need, rather than a whole separate service.
okay. Thank you.
Might be actually some cost savings
Yeah.
because you can just add on some barrels.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Any questions over here?
No?
Mark?
Yeah,
I just,
so
the
the
initial cost will be $30.98 for
a
a residence
that
has 3 carts.
Correct. Yeah.
And how will it be? I
know
we've
talked
about this a lot, but I've never heard anybody say how it will be implemented, how it will start.
Well, I think we might want to have a separate workshop on this because it's very complex and there's so many
That's
variables.
good
because
I'm
I'm
wondering.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some information.
Yeah, why don't I think it'd be more appropriate because it's very complex and we're still kind of ironing out the kinks and how we want to roll this out, but it's definitely going to be phased. Because there's just a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross to make sure.
Okay, so just for public consumption, on July 1, there's not going to be thousands of things being dropped off all over the place.
No, that is
scenario.
impossible. We'd have to have an army out here.
I know. It needs to be.
Yeah.
It needs to be put online that's not how it's going to happen, and we need to somehow get the information out of how it's going to happen.
Yeah, so we're going to start more public information first part of May, and we have a community info meeting May 20th, which at that meeting our expectation is we can roll out what service implementation looks like. And so it's going to be by route. It's going to be in a manageable number of customers, so we can make sure all the data is entered correctly into the billing system, that we get their service level entered correctly, that it's delivered appropriately, and that we don't have 75 or 8,000 phone calls all coming in at one time. Right.
Absolutely, please.
Just to answer your question also, we can't deliver them all July 1st, not going to happen. Two reasons. One, just the manpower trying to get them all out there is almost impossible without a huge crew. Second thing is we're still waiting to get our trucks that we ordered a year ago, so we're still waiting on those. I have had my vendor tell me I'll have the carts, the majority of my carts in June, so I can start doing the rollout as early as June. And I probably will. I'll start putting the carts out there. We'll still continue with this trash service, but I'll try to start getting the carts out there early so we can have as many as we can ready to go in July. But that's if the carts show up, have the manpower, have the trucks to do it. So those are a couple of things that are still an unknown to me. So we'll do our best to get it out there as quickly as possible. Work with Kim and the billing department, so therefore nobody has billed anything other than what the service that they're getting rendered at the time.
Okay.
Questions?
I do have one question about the dump cards that the residents have now. How will those work with this?
Dump cards are still in effect as far as I know. That's the county. I have nothing to do with the dump cards. So as far as I know, the dump cards are staying in place. I don't see any change.
Yeah, the county for now is going to keep the land use permit available. We call them dump cards at this time because they have a similar situation to us in their other CFAs. So like Oak Hills, they're going to either they have CR&R actually in Oak Hills too. So same thing. They either need to subscribe to service or they need to self-haul. And we're modeling kind of our self-haul program after what the county's doing, just so it stays congruent in our area.
And how do we certify the self-haul and who's keeping track of that?
That's a great question. I'm still having conversations with the county, trying to get them into the 21st century on technology. Because right now they have outlined a paper process. So it's a paper permit that you pay a fee for and annual receipt tracking. And there's a better way. We just have to kind of work with them to help them see that because we don't operate the transfer station. They do. And so I don't have any jurisdiction over what the county does. So I'm just gonna kind of recommend maybe some time-saving, cost-saving measures with barcodes maybe on the land use pass and a simple program that tracks it, because it'd be really easy for us to do a data comparison, see who's participating and who's not. And if they're not participating, they now have service with CR&R. That's how I see it, but the county doesn't.
It just seems like if it's not really mandatory if we can self-certify and do a self-haul. But if you have trash service and you're paying property taxes for the dump card, you're getting double charged.
So you're actually not. The land use pass is how all of our residential customers, so if a parcel is identified as residential, they're paying the disposal component of our rate already. And so when CR&R puts together their rates, they're taking into account that if they're disposing of residential trash at the landfill, they don't need to pay that disposal cost. And so you're already paying for the disposal cost. And that does affect the rate.
It gets balanced across all the rates then.
It does. Yeah. And commercial, of course, they don't pay that disposal component on their property taxes. So they pay the disposal fees in addition to the collection fees.
And then I had one more question. I know staff has been working really hard with CR&R and met with them 4, 5, 6 times. Are you completely comfortable with the numbers they've given us and the documentation they've given us for the rates?
Yeah, at this point I am, because the most common service type, so our residents will be able to comply with our requirements, so our ordinance, in an affordable manner now, because there's no rate increase for this year. And so if they choose to have additional services, that's on them, and they're going to pay the rates that are outlined in the schedule. But in order to be compliant with district rules and regulations, they're going to be able to be compliant, and they're not going to have to pay any more for it. And that's kind of the goal we had. And then we'll be able to develop meaningful rates based off of actual cost once we see what participation looks like.
All right. No further questions from you?
Mark?
Nope.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So my first question is on sort of a couple things. So it's a self-haul question of sorts. Is the self-haul permit included in the Prop 218 vote if service is mandatory and self-haul works for that?
It's an administrative fee, so it doesn't have to go through that type of It doesn't have to go through that type of process, because if you don't pay your self-haul permit fee, we're just going to make you have CR&R collection service. And so that's kind of our recourse there if you don't pay the fee. The other thing is just like the fee we charge for disconnects or whatever, those don't go through 218. Those are based off of a time and material analysis, and that's kind of what the dump fee, or I'm sorry, the self-haul permit fee, if we have one. I'm hoping the county does technology and we don't have to, but it'll be based off actual costs.
Okay.
So and that'll come before the board as part of our fee schedule, and so there'll be an opportunity to talk about it.
Okay. And a follow-up question. I thought this was mentioned in the meeting the other day, but I just want to make sure. I could theoretically sign up for only recycling service with CR&R.
You could, yeah, and we're kind of going through the process of what that's going to look like right now. So I encourage May 20th to come to the public info meeting, or if we have a workshop before then.
But that would, if I were to do that, that would involve the new account setup fee and the new account delivery fee.
Yeah.
And then just the basic.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, typically most people haul all or nothing. It's unusual for people to haul all recycling, with the exception of CRV. People aren't cardboard, paper, stuff like that, glass jars, spaghetti jars, they're not really worth anything. And so, but CRV is, and you can still obviously put all of your non-valuable recyclables in the recycle bin, and still we encourage you to take your CRV and get that redeemed.
Okay.
Any questions online, Meredith or Debbie?
Not me, thanks.
Okay. All right.
So then you are looking for a motion for this one, correct?
Mr. Kennedy, can this just be consensus to proceed with the 218 with these rates?
Yes, that's correct. I wouldn't recommend a motion since you'll be having a public hearing later on, and then that's when the board will be asked to take action.
Okay.
So consensus is yes?
Yes. All right.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you.
All right.
So we will move on to 6B, presentation and discussion regarding billing and payment options.
So Jennifer Oaks is going to take this item since she prepared the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is going to be about our current payment options and then future payment options that we're looking at. As mentioned, we're bringing this forward in response to a gentleman that was our prior meeting, and we wanted to clarify all of our current methods of payment as well as some that we're working on in the future. So on our introduction slide, so first we're going to touch on current payment methods and how we're striving to make payment options accessible and easy for our customers. And then we'll talk about future payment options that could be adopted in the future. I don't know.
Is this also going to be associated with the new trash?
However you pay your water bill, you, in theory, again, we'll have more information. We'll be able to pay your trash bill the same way.
Okay, so first, I want to talk briefly on how customers actually can receive their bill, those methods right now. We have three options that are listed here: mail, email, or mail and email. Once the bills go out, we have key reminders in place to help customers remember their due dates. We have past due notices. We post on our social media due dates and future disconnection dates. And then we also have 3 text messages if customers opt into them that go out the week prior to disconnect, just so that they have every opportunity and every reminder to make sure they pay on time. And phone calls. So our current payment options that we have in-office, of course, we accept cash, check or money order, and credit or debit card. They could pay by phone with credit or debit card. We accept payments online, also credit or debit card. We have auto pay, which customers can set up with the district. This is a direct debit from the customer's bank and doesn't incur any additional fees or anything like that. We also have bill pay options, which customers can set up with their bank. Those banks, in turn, mail us a physical check. Customers can also pay by mail, check or money order, and then we also have a drop box where we accept check or money order, and that's located, obviously, here at the district office. So, right now we have 7 different payment options, but we're of course looking at how we can make this process even easier for customers in the future.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Is there a charge for a debit?
Yes.
Because that's straight out of your account, right?
There's a processing fee that we're
There is.
charged.
There
Yeah,
is.
so that's why we charge the $3.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought it was just taken straight out of your account.
No, yeah, there's processing fees involved with that.
No wonder I don't use it.
So we have a couple options that we're actually actively pursuing and researching, and these will come back to the board for approval once we have everything in place and we have all the information. The first one is called eClick Services, and yes, it is click with a K. This is a service that has just recently become available. Even 6 months ago, it was not available to us. And this is where the customers can sign up with their bill pay, and those payments are actually electronically transferred to us. So it eliminates that check being mailed to us, and so it eliminates that delay. Yeah. And so we're looking at this. Right now, the proposal to us is that it would cost the district $50 a month, and then 25 cents per payment. There's about 675 customers that right now do the bill pay through their bank. And so that we're looking at a cost of about $200 per month to the district to offer the service. And then another option that we're looking at, just as a matter of convenience, is contactless payments, which I'm sure you're aware of. Basically, you can use your credit debit card to do tap payments, but it also allows Apple Pay, Google Pay, etc. This would be similar to the credit debit charge processing fee, so it would be $3 per transaction. And right now, the only cost that we see with that is we need to upgrade our payment acceptance machines.
So with
the eClick service, that would be usable with all financial institutions?
As far as we understand at this point.
Okay.
Or maybe not. We started talking about it a little bit this afternoon. That's why we're doing research at this point.
Well, there's participating financial institutions, but there's financial institutions that don't participate in this.
Okay.
So if their financial institution does not participate, you'd be surprised at the number of various credit unions and all from all over the world that our customers use for payment processing and making payments to us. And some of those are not, their institutions don't, some of the smaller credit unions don't do that.
Okay.
So, but that's not on us, that's
Right.
Also,
Okay.
being able to offer it is important.
So that is pretty much what we're looking at right now. Again, here's the list of our payment options, and then the two services that we're looking at. So if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Mark, any other questions?
No.
Over here?
I'm kind of lost.
All right. Mr. Barnes?
While he's walking up, I just want to remind everybody that if for some reason you don't get your bill in the mail and you choose not to get an electronic bill, you could always call the district office, and we're happy to tell you how much you owe at any time, which can assist you with online bill pay.
Thank you.
So I have a question about the $3 credit debit charges. Is that because the district gets like a percentage? Is the district charged like a percentage of each payment? And the $3 is sort of like a best guesstimate, like a rounding?
There's percentages also fees.
Yeah.
There's a combination of ways that we're charged by the banking institutions and the credit card processing institutions.
Yeah.
And so we took what we're being charged and basically came up with a transaction.
So $3 is like an average best guess, covering all the people who are paying. Some might be a little more, some might be a little less, but okay. It is only half serious, but no Bitcoins in the plan. Come on. All right, thanks.
And then Debbie McAfee has her hand raised.
Yes. Okay. I pay all of my bills via online. For years, I have had some ongoing argument with you guys about charging the $3. Okay, no other company that I use my debit card at charges me $3 to pay my bill online. And on top of that, you allow auto pay setup, but you don't have a portal on your website where you can go in and fill out your card or your bank account information. I'm not really comfortable having a written piece of paper with all my bank account information floating around in your office. All the other companies that I pay my bill online using my bank account have an online portal where I can sign up for that. And now you're saying you can pay using a Apple Pay. I use Apple Pay for almost every transaction that I do, and no company charges me $3 to use my Apple Pay. I use it at Stater Brothers. I use it everywhere. Nobody charges me that. And thirdly, you guys waived that transaction fee during COVID, and you guys did not go out of business. So my thoughts here are that you can actually afford not to charge people a $3 processing fee. I also think that perhaps it probably costs you more money to actually process checks that people, either mail or, bring to you in the office, because you have to pay employees to, code those, to take them to the bank, this, that, and the other thing. Have you actually calculated how much money it costs you to have those employees? My guess is it would balance out the $3 fee that you charge those of us who want to use a debit card. The last point I want to make is that I have been paying you guys using my Wells Fargo bill pay service. You send out the bills on the 1st, okay? I do not get mail delivered to my house. It gets delivered to the bank. I'm going to talk specifically about this current billing period that just ended today at 5:30 today. I don't go get my bill immediately when it arrives at the post office. I don't go to the post office every day. I go maybe once a week. So I got my bill. I bring it into my house. I don't immediately go, oh my God, I have to pay my water bill immediately. I got around to it. This month, I paid it using Wells Fargo bill pay on the 8th. Wells Fargo anticipates that it would be there by the 15th. It wasn't there by the 15th. So I had to call every other day to find out if my bill arrived, because it still did not get cashed. And on Wells Fargo bill pay, you can look up to see when the check has been cashed. So finally, today, you guys claim that you received my thing. If I hadn't called, and if it got there tomorrow, I would have to pay a penalty for having my bill be late, even though I paid it on the 8th. And so that is totally wrong. So of all the bills I pay, this one is the most burdensome, the most crazy. I mean, there for a while, I would hand deliver my bill over to your office because I didn't want to pay the $3 fee. It's so difficult to pay this bill. I have no difficulty with any other company. It's only this one. And anyway, you need to, one, get rid of that $3 fee, and you could get another service where, or at least give people more time. If the bill is due on the 15th and I pay it on Wells Fargo bill pay on the 14th, technically I should not be given a penalty for that. Anyway, that is my comment.
Thank you.
So Ms. McAfee brings up
excellent
points
that we're always discussing at the staff level.
And
as some
as
of our directors that have been with us for a while know that we did actually put together an
an
agenda
item
and a presentation that kind of goes over
in detail
our
costs
costs for processing all of the various payments. And so we've actually done the analysis about that, and I think maybe
for
for benefit
of
our new audience participants
and our new directors, we should bring that back.
Because we do get into detail about that
And why we charge a $3 fee
and
all of this. And then also Ms. McAfee,
we can sign you up for e-bills in addition to your paper bills, so it gets delivered to your email as soon as it's generated, if you
would like.
All right.
All right.
Thank you
very much.
Yeah,
And then in the present,
Right.
Yeah,
and then as the presentation pointed out, when we move to the e-click service,
that will do a direct
transfer from your bank to our bank, so we bypass the whole post office and printing issue.
Excellent. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
So we will move on to 6C, update on the proposed Civic Center and Phelan Park expansion projects.
Okay, very brief update. We met with KTUA about the upcoming submittal for the Land and Water Conservation Grant, and they're working on scaling it back. So we have a smaller submittal and less district share of costs. And so once we have that, we'll bring it back to you. And then what's the other one? Oh yeah, we'll have an agenda item fairly soon from KTUA to do the final design and project management for the ARPA grant portion. So that's the pickleball court, exercise equipment, and the garden. So Jen, I don't think there was anything else right now.
There is only one thing that I think George probably would want mentioned, and that's the RFQ. We're looking at possibly not going, well, we didn't go out as soon as we were hoping it would be. It'll probably go out Monday.
Okay. Any questions? No? All right, thank you. All right, so we will move on to 7, committee reports. Engineering,
I did not meet.
finance,
We met yesterday and went over the draft budget, was the majority of the time, and in pretty good detail. And that will, the results and comments on that will be brought forth at the meeting, the workshop on April 5th. Thank you.
okay.
And did
Which
you
is
have any
next
other-
Wednesday.
The only comment I have is that I was surprised at how much some of the cost went up for us, as far as Edison, as far as some of our other hard costs, gasoline, fuel, stuff like that. It was amazing to me what the escalation in price was for some of those things.
Yeah, and some of that will be presented at the budget workshop.
It's not next Wednesday, it's the following Wednesday. The packet will go out
This
next
is
Wednesday.
All right, legislative,
We met on the 14th. Both directors were present. First order of action was to appoint a chair, so we appointed. Board Member Snyder is the chair. And then we reviewed ballot initiative number 21-0042A1, which CSDA was requesting a resolution from the board on. So we thought it would be best to bring the item back to the board so the full board could review it and see if we wanted to support the resolution or not.
okay. Thank you. Park and Rec, we met in January, went over the activities and programs for the year, and I don't think there was anything else. Greg, no, I didn't think so. All right. And waste and recycling, we haven't met the last 2 times, so. All right, so moving on to 8, staff and general managers report. Anything to add?
I have nothing further. Do you?
Anyone have any questions on that? No? All right. So we will go to number 9, director's reports. Mark?
I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Chuck?
Nothing further.
Greg?
Nothing further.
All right. And for me, Monday night I attended the ASB-CSD dinner. It was my first official meeting as a director of the board. They did change and update their website address. I will have a report in next meeting's packet, so I will have that. It was hosted by IEUA, and the topic was Innovative and Sustainable Water Supply Solutions, which was presented by a member of the Metropolitan Water Agency. Excellent news. We've all are sick of the snow and the rain, but as far as the water table is concerned, he was great news, and he said we were at 218% above the average snowfall for the year. So that little graph that he showed was like 3 years ago and then this year. So positive news. All right. So moving on to 10, correspondence and information.
Okay, so Mojave Water Agency has posted a notice of vacancy on their board of directors, which is for our service area. So they have the information in there if you're interested in applying for it. We have our community information flyer in here, which I should put the new one. Same QR code will go to the website. It's on May 20th at 10 a.m., which is a Saturday. So we have done one in the middle of the day on a weekday, one later in the evening on a weekday, and now we're going to take care of a weekend. So hopefully everybody is able to attend at least one. And then we just have our regular flyers regarding our parks activities. And that's it. Oh, one more thing. Birthday art contest. So that's going out to the schools. We look forward to that every year. It turns into our district calendar.
Very nice. All
All
right.
right. So we'll move on to 11, review of action items. Were there any prior meeting action items?
Yes, so we completed our presentation on our bill and payment options tonight. And the Finance Committee did review the budget policy. There are no suggested changes, so that will come back to the board as a consent item.
Okay.
And current meeting action items.
Yeah, we'll have an agenda item coming up to talk about the costs of our different payment options and the staff time to process them.
Okay.
And then setting agenda for next meeting.
So we have
Regular board meeting April 12th, but we have the budget meeting the week before that, right? Okay. Does anyone have anything that they wanted to add to the regular board meeting agenda items? Nope. Okay.
All
right. So with no further business, we will adjourn at 5:43 p.m.
Thank you.